Have you ever looked around in July and thought, why does everything suddenly feel like so much? Not because anything is wrong or because you're failing, just because somewhere between vacations, camp, family events, work projects, doctor's appointments, house responsibilities, and trying to take care of yourself, life suddenly got very full. And if you're anything like the women I work with, your instinct is probably the same: push harder, right? Get more organized, find a better planner, become more productive with a new system. But what if the problem isn't productivity? What if the problem is really volume? What if the thing that needs attention isn't discipline, it's your capacity? Today, I want you to think about what strong might actually look like for this summer, because I think too many women have been sold a version of strength that isn't really serving them, and summer can expose it. And as you know, this whole series is about what summer can kind of tell us about ourselves. And a few days ago, I had one of those moments, and it happens every summer, kind of. Every once in a while, I'll have a day, and either I don't feel like enough's going, like I kind of feel quiet, or the opposite, I feel so overwhelmed that I feel stuck. But the other day, I had one where I actually felt quiet. Um, so I had a little bit of space to think. I didn't have to answer questions or drive anywhere or coordinate anything or pack anything or make anyone anything. So I grabbed a notebook and started writing everything, every project, every responsibility, not every idea, that's a separate notebook, but every task, obligation, commitment, everything that was kind of taking up space in my brain. So in the coaching world, we'll call this a brain dump. And I do not do them as often as I should. But when I finished, I looked at the list and something was very clear. And it wasn't that I needed a productivity hack, it was that I needed fewer things. The list was embarrassingly extensive. So that's when I decided we should talk about it, and that it isn't really a discipline problem or a time management problem, although I'm sure there's little tweaks here and there where we could all be a little bit more productive from a time management perspective. But I really just needed fewer things. And so I think if a lot of us did this more often and wrote down every single thing that we committed to already and honestly looked at what you're carrying, you would find a way to say no to more stuff. And so I just want to let you know that if you have been feeling overwhelmed lately, that's probably very normal. High achieving women, we have this uncanny knack of pushing harder and harder and harder. And then we kind of lose sight of where our capacity line really was, because we just keep thinking we can do more. And especially if it's fun stuff, right? There is a little bit like I can be stacked to the gills. And then if someone's like, hey, there's this fun thing, I'm like, oh, I find room for that, right? And summer can expose this because summer is really fun and there's a lot of stuff going on and it's good and it's like things we want to do. And we still have all the work stuff and the family stuff, but then there might be travel and activities and people coming over and pool and sun and vacation and all of these things. And we're making memories, and it can overwhelm and become too much pretty quickly without really seeing it coming. So we have a tendency then, as we let our habits slip, to have this idea like, I just need to get more organized, or I need to get it together, or I need to manage my time better. But it's really that you're carrying enough for like more than one person, probably like three people, if we're honest. So it's not a discipline problem at all. It is a volume problem. And summer can really highlight this, I think, because it removes the structure that we rely on of like this really patterned schedule where we've come to know about how much we can add in and still stay like thread that needle, be right on that line of too much. So when we don't have that rigid schedule and the schedule is changing and kids are home, or and then we're having travel and all of these things, I think, and then all the things are fun, right? things are a little bit less predictable and the rhythm changes. And so when the structure disappears, these weak systems get exposed, just like what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. But it's not weak people, it's a weak system. Okay. And because when we expose these things, we have a tendency to make them personal. And this is not personal. Summer is just has revealed to us that we do too much, and that if everything's not really solidly structured around our overcommitment, then it makes it harder to get things done. I've learned this about high achieving women. It's this confusion that we think our capacity is unlimited. And I've walked through this actually on a conference talk that I gave. Um, if you are a doctor, this is, I'll walk you through sort of what happens. And I think how we get tricked into this even more. Um, so when we're in medical school, well, first, when you're trying to get into medical school, you're studying all the time and you're like, I'm so busy, it'll be better when. Then you get in medical school and you're like, oh, that was cute. I thought I was studying a lot. I had no idea. And so every year like gets harder and harder. And every time, like when you're in the weeds, you're like, it's all right. I just got to push through. It'll be better when, like, it'll be better when I'm a second year med student. It'll be better when I'm a third year med student. It'll be better when I graduate. It'll be better when I'm an intern. And at each point, you think you are at capacity. So when I was an intern and we were like, we didn't have work hours like they do now, I thought I was supremely busy. And then I became a resident and I looked and I was like, oh, that was cute that I thought I was busy. Right. And then residents, God bless y'all, like they think they're so helpful. And then you become an attending and you're like, oh my God, like I not only was I not as busy as I thought I was, like I have the capacity for so much more. I actually wasn't even as helpful as I thought I was, which is kind of annoying. And so then we're this attending and we're like, oh, the buck stops with me and now I really am busy. And then we're like, oh, well, let's have some kids and then like add on to it. And so we just keep thinking we're at capacity. And then because of the nature of the system, we add more and we're able to absorb it. And so we really get tricked into this false sense of my capacity is limitless. And it's really just not true. Um, we did make room up to a point, but being capable means we can do a lot, but unlimited capacity and being capable are not the same thing. Unlimited means there's no consequences for doing a lot, and none of us are unlimited. We have a capacity. And so when we tip over that, there are consequences to that. Um, we're not physically unlimited, emotionally, mentally, like nobody is unlimited in any aspect, right? So you can say, Stacy, I'm not unlimited in my whole life, but there's this one area like I'm unlimited. Nope, you're not. Okay. If you break down every aspect of your life, in no realm are you unlimited. Nobody is. And so we start believing we are. Like, if I can do it, I should do it. And that's where we get into trouble because then this capacity becomes obligation and obligation becomes overload and overload becomes exhaustion. And then we, like our personal, physical, emotional health, it starts to suffer. So the brain dump exercise in coaching can be incredibly powerful and it is incredibly simple. And so there's kind of two realms you can use this in. One is if you're kind of perseverating on a thought or some negative thoughts and you kind of want to see what's going on, like what's something maybe you want to work with from a mindset thought perspective. And so we can do a brain dump and just write down everything that's going on for you, not a task list, but like thoughts, more like a journaling exercise. And then you can come back to it and say, like, what's a fact? What's a story? What's maybe some pattern thoughts that I need to work on? So there's that aspect. This brain dump exercise is more like what I've taught before called like Monday Hour One. This is where we're going to write down all the stuff we think we have to do. And so it's not fancy. We're not color coding. We're not like productivity softwaring anything. We're not putting any of this onto a calendar. We're just writing it down. So we're going to write down every commitment, every responsibility, every task, every project we're working on, everything that's kind of taking up that mental space. Again, not our mindset like self-improvement space, but our physical like this is stuff I need to get done. Put all of that down. Don't organize it, don't judge it, just get it out of your head. Because when you do that, a couple of things can happen. One, if you've been feeling like I have so much, sometimes it can be helpful because you can look at it and be like, okay, yes, there's a lot, but it is manageable. And some of these things overlap. And, if I do A, B, and C, that actually kind of takes care of D, E, and F. And so it can be a pleasant surprise. This is not always going to be something that you are like, what's happening, right? It's not always going to be negative. You can do this where you write everything down and you can be like, okay, now I have a place to get organized and it's fine. Sometimes we can write it all down and be like, oh, well, no wonder, right? No wonder I'm feeling overwhelmed or short tempered or like I'm not getting enough sleep, whatever it is, because we realize I'm just overloaded. I'm not failing, I'm overloaded. And so those are very different conclusions. So, one, we can look at it and be like, oh, I was overwhelmed. I did this, but I see like it's, there's more things that overlap than I thought it's going to be, or there's stuff I can delegate. It's going to be fine. And then one, you write it down and you're like, I'm just doing it to organize. I'm not all overwhelmed. And you look at it and you're like, okay, but I will be if I try and accomplish all of these things. Um, what did one of my clients just tell me? They felt like, um, they're functioning like a water wheel, right? Where everything is going, but it really just takes like a little bit of extra water to like really get it spinning, right? So we don't want to be on that tipping point where we can't absorb or have any flexibility or any wiggle room in case life's because life is going to life. Okay. So let's say that you were trying to improve your health this summer and, so you had some walking goals or something, but you're also working. The kids' schedules all messed up, right? So you're driving to different camps, driving to everything. You're managing the family schedule. You're trying to plan a vacation. So you're looking at airfare. People have come to your house. You're hosting visitors. Um, you're trying to stay connected to your friends because they miss you and it's fun. And we like to do things in the summer and we're trying to sleep and we're trying to exercise and we're still trying to have like quality time with our spouse. We're trying to remember our sunscreen and like what was on that camp list that I was supposed to buy. And did I fill out all their forms and appointments and everything else? And at some point, you can see that it's not motivation, it's capacity. And so I want us this summer, when we're thinking about being strong and capable, to think about what that means for us, because most of the time we define that as doing more, right? Handling more, carrying more, needing less, like not needing help, not slowing down, just go, 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 never dropping the ball, everything's good. But I want us to think that maybe strength looks like getting enough sleep and drinking enough water and saying no and taking a walk and recovering when you're tired. Take the nap, okay? Let someone help you. Ask for support. Stay connected by protecting your energy. Know your limits and like honor that, right? That's strength. That's not weakness. And so when we ask things like what needs more effort, when we look at our list and we're like, where do I need more effort? Like, where can I just like hunker down and give 120% and like get things done? What if we ask, like, what on this list needs support? Maybe our schedule needs support, right? Maybe our sleep needs support. Maybe our movement needs support. And then maybe all of it needs a little support. It's not always more effort that is needed, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Sometimes it's more support. And so if we can look at that list, I love to look at a list and delete and delegate what you can. But this, I want you to look and be like, where can I like reach out to my pack and get some help? So instead of supporting everyone else during the summer, which is what has a tendency to happen, right? We're like making sure the kids are having a good time. We're making sure our guests are having a good time. We're making sure everyone is okay and they have our support. What about asking, like, who's supporting me? And a lot of times the answer is nobody, but we need to change that. Humans are not designed to carry everything alone. And these connections matter, okay? And support matters. So when we do our little task brain dump, so we'll have like a mental health one and a task one. So this is our task brain dump. I want you to look at every single item and just be like, is this a must do? Like, does this really need to happen? Is it a must do or is it like a nice to do? So at Christmas time, we use this website. It's called tallwish.com, and it's like an online wish list. So because we're kind of all over the country, this is kind of how we do a Christmas list for everybody. And so when you put an item up there, it says like must have, like to have, would be nice, right? So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do like a Christmas list ranking with our to-do list. Is this a must do, would be nice to do, probably can wait, right? And then and then those things, like, can they be delegated? Can they be deleted? You know what? Delegate, delete, y'all, right? Don't overcomplicate it. Just like go through the first time and just what's your heart tell you? Like keep, delete, whatever. Just quickly go through and start creating a little bit of space. Because most of us don't really need a better system. We need less on the list. So make space where you can. So we're going to be doing a little bit of this real time in the membership and going through everyone's personal list. But I want to just leave you with this as we wrap up. You are highly capable, but you are not unlimited. And you need to support yourself by asking for help. And so you can be incredibly strong by asking for support where you need it. And support is strength. And so I just want you to reimagine what a really strong woman looks like, because I think it is someone who develops a really strong team of support. So we don't need to carry everything. Okay. You matter as well. And you have to make some space and some time. All right. That's all I have for this week. Don't forget, you can get unlimited, nearly unlimited personalized help in the membership. So if you have not jumped over there to try it out, I highly recommend you do. I'll make sure the link is in the show notes. I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.